So hello everyone to the weekly live stream. Hopefully you can hear me. Welcome everyone. 47 people already, which is great. Usually after the first few minutes, new people are joining anyway. As always, you can always rewatch the live stream should you leave early. And yeah, hello everybody to the live stream on the 1st of May. So really good to see that. We'll wait a few minutes for more people to join. But today the topic is Fibonacci. So that is what you voted for on Telegram. Most people wanted to hear about Fibonacci, the theory behind Fibonacci, why Fibonacci is so important, what it means, and yeah, it's a topic not many people, just to get a bit of background information, I think is quite useful. As always, what we do, for everybody who's new, we cover a certain topic on the live stream. Only like half of the live stream, and the other half of the live stream is reserved for your questions, so you can ask anything. Preferably not too much TA, because I do TA all week, and we tried to cover less TA on the live stream. But if there is something and there is some time, I'm happy to look into it. But bear in mind that there's often not enough time in the live stream just to do a proper TA. Especially if it's not a coin I cover normally. Can't often answer that question then, but yeah, so as always, if you have any questions, post them please here in the chat, and after the topic, after I go through the topic, we will have a look at your questions and everything. And currently Bitcoin 38.5, and I'm gonna start with the topic of Fibonacci. I think it's quite useful, quite interesting. But again, yeah, hello everyone, and welcome. So maybe before we start, obviously 50,000 subscribers, it's really reason to celebrate. So thanks for that. It's just crazy, 50,000 in not even a year. I think that's only possible in crypto, to be honest. That is great. For anybody who is interested, of course you can already or still sign up for the trading course. I don't know, I haven't had any feedback from anyone who's already signed up. First two chapters are complete. I'm now uploading in the next few days chapter 3, which is about TA, technical analysis. That's the third chapter. First two chapters of the trading course were about just sort of the fundamentals and the tools that you need as trader in crypto, and the third one is now about TA. All right, but let's start about Fibonacci. And what I've prepared is just a small presentation just to show you what really is behind the phenomenon of Fibonacci, because a lot of people won't really know, or maybe you've heard about it, you forgot about it, or whatever, because if you don't use it all day, you forget about it. For some reason, it doesn't capture the whole screen. I tried to adjust it, so sorry if sometimes something is cut off. I don't think it's too bad. I think it's all right. But yeah, some of it might be cut off for some reason. I don't know why. Try to adjust it. Doesn't matter. So what is Fibonacci? So it is this guy whose name is, what was his name? Leonardo Fibonacci? But he was a mathematician, lived in these years, 1170 to 1240 in Pisa, Italy. And he identified this number sequence, which is very special, because this is the essence of what we do when we talk about Fibonacci retracements, Fibonacci extensions. You've got here these numbers 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. And the interesting thing is, when you add two adjacent numbers to each other, you get the next one as a result. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2, 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 5 is 8. So you get it, right? And this is just sort of the foundation of this, right? But we can take this further. As you can see, it's just adding it together. But then whenever you divide one of these numbers to the number before, you get this 61.8% ratio. So this is what we talk about when we talk about the golden ratio. This is also, in terms of the Fibonacci retracements on the charts, the most relevant one. Yeah. So you've got here 21 divided by 13, you got 61.8. 89 divided by 55, you get 61.8, and so on. So this is always divide one number with the smaller one next to it, and you get that ratio. And that is that Fibonacci ratio, 61.8. Now, if the numbers are really small, you don't get exactly that ratio, but that doesn't matter. Any higher number, the higher the numbers, the more close you really get to the 61.8. So if I do 5 by 3, you won't get to 61.8, but it's getting close. But the higher you go, it's getting really, I think from 21, divide that by 13, you already have it. So the higher the numbers, the more accurate, and this is really the essence of it. But that's not all of it. So you can also do it the other way around, or you can do it with a second number next to it. Yeah. So you can, first of all, you can swap it around. So when we do, for example, 233, if you were to divide that by 144, so that again, the next smaller number next to it, then you get the 1.618. Yeah. 1 second. No, you get, here you get 233 divided by 89 because it's not the next number, but the one before that, and then you get to the 2.618. These are the Fibonacci extensions, for example. So it's all about these ratios. You can divide them through each other, different numbers. Here, 89 divided by 233 is the 38.2. You know that from my videos. It's a 38.2 Fibonacci level. 55 divided by 233 is a 23.6% Fibonacci level. And so the more distant these numbers are from each other, then you get basically these different Fibonacci numbers. And if you swap them around, then you get the extensions, the Fibonacci extensions. That's sort of how it is made up and how it's happening. Then we've got obviously the 50%. And again, sorry, it's cut off. I see it on the screen here. I don't know why. But it says 50% obviously is not a Fibonacci relationship, but it's still being used. It's for some reason found its way into those fibs, but it's not actually a Fibonacci relationship, but still relevant when you do the charting. But then what is really, so that is sort of the theory behind it. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff with it. You can take the, or you can multiply them with each other, all sorts of stuff, and you get to interesting numbers and stuff. But this is really what you need to know. Those ratios between each other, they lead you to the 61.8. And if you then skip a number, then you get the other fib numbers like 38.2, 23.6. You'll also get the 88.7 and so on. Okay. And when you swap them around, you get these extensions. 1.618, you'll probably get 1.382 in some way, 1.236, and so on. So that is how it's made up, all based on these numbers. 1 second. All right, so let's carry on. So we've got here these one example of how it actually appears in nature. So you do have, for example, here a sunflower. So a sunflower is also giving you those same ratios really here. So for example, it doesn't always happen, but they tend to also adhere to these Fibonacci numbers. So for example, here on sunflower, you've got 21 arms rotating left and 35 the right way around. So if you go back 21, 34, you can see that actually here. Yeah. So then we've got another example, 21, 55, 34 here. So also here, just giving you the same, giving you the sort of the same ratios. So you find it everywhere in nature. Then seashells, or generally like the housing of snails, you can see the same ratio. So you can find it basically everywhere in nature. Yeah, so I find that really, really highly interesting. And this you can basically find these relations everywhere. So that is important to understand. 1 second, I think someone rang the doorbell. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Yeah, 1 second. I'll just put that here on mute. Be back in 2 seconds or 2 minutes. All right, so I'm back. Yeah, sorry, quick interruption here. So you can find these everywhere, these proportions. So in nature, that's sort of the essence of it. Not only here, sunflowers, seashells, snail housing. No, also pineapples tend to grow in the same way. And here, I think this is I can't remember what that actually is. Romanesco salad, I think. It's all coming the same ratios. And then here's some more examples: shells, seahorse, the horns of certain animals, galaxies, pine cones. Yeah, they tend to not always have exactly those numbers and ratios, but they tend to, even ocean waves here, and that is sort of the ratio here that you can see. Yeah, 1.618, that ratio. Also the human body, you can see these Fibonacci numbers here and how it's divided up, face compared to other parts of the body. In the face, even in the face, Fibonacci relationships of the human head, and found a photo of Donald Trump as well. And it's the same stuff starting from the ear. You've got those Fibonacci relationships, quite interesting. He's got the haircut for that anyway. So again, and also when you stretch out your hand, and it goes deeper as well. You know, it's your fingers as well, fingers to the hand and stuff like that. So you can find those Fibonacci retracements everywhere, and relationships. Also here, example of a galaxy. Here, example of the Sphinx and the pyramids. Yeah, just some examples so that you can see that this stuff is sort of everywhere. Then here, just when in architecture, the Taj Mahal, or here from the top bird's eye view, those pyramids and how they are designed, yeah, and how they stand in relation to each other. Waves, very interesting. Yeah, because waves move in that same wave, in the same way. So you can see it's actually Trump's head. Go back, see that he's got a wave. Just joking, but it's the same relationship. And yeah, here as well on this sort of pattern. And then if it's in waves, why not also in price charts, which are waves as well. So that's really just about that sort of quick presentation, show you the bit of the background around it. And what I want to show you now is sort of how to do that in the charts, how to find it in the charts. And the thing is that the idea behind this is, I mean, nobody really knows if it's really sort of the underlying thing that markets really behave like that, or is it just because these Fibonacci retracements exist as a tool in your charting software, and that every trader is using it. It becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. People are using it, therefore prices react to these numbers. Or is it because it's something underlying in human psychology, when people or when the masses act in a certain way, sentiment shifts in waves, obviously, as well. That is what we measure with the Elliott waves as well. But those Fibonacci numbers, then, you know, nobody really knows. Is it related because is it like a self-fulfilling prophecy because their tool exists and everybody talks about it and then prices adhere to it? Or is it really psychology driven, that when people act in a certain way, it adheres to Fibonacci numbers? So that is what really nobody knows. Many theories around it. For us, it doesn't matter. All we need to know is that prices adhere to it, to the Fibonacci numbers and the Fibonacci relationships and ratios. And therefore, yeah, let's take a look at the charts. So I just need to find a way to make that actually smaller again, hide that. And then we are back on the Bitcoin chart. But what I want to show you, I'll show you a new one, maybe from a different exchange that I haven't used before. Yeah, so let's just use this one here. And so yeah, what you can obviously do is, there are certain tools. The most simple one is the Fibonacci retracement tool. That is also the one that is most frequently used. And basically, if you just do basic trading, what you are looking for, you basically use, or you basically just try to find a major swing low, and then you start here, you select Fibonacci retracement tool, and you start from the low as close as possible to the low, and you go to the swing high, and then you can already see that, for example, here the price reacted very well to the 50% Fibonacci retracement. So in terms of the retracements, if you want to mimic that on your TradingView or wherever, these are the ones that I use. So you can obviously go back later, rewatch the video, and then just copy them. So I use the 0.113, the 0.382, the 0.618, and also the 0.236, 0.5, 0.786, 0.887. These are the main ones that I use for the retracements. And then in the past I had them reversed. I'm not doing that anymore. It just creates confusion. Yeah, these are my settings. And then, you know, that's then you never know where the price will react to, but you can actually see very well that when the price came down here for the first time, it came down to the 38.2% level and then to the 50%. So this is all you need to know really for the retracements, that you ideally try to find here a swing low, a swing high, and then you know that at some point the prices will react to these Fibonacci levels. And really relevant Fibonacci levels are here the 38.2, the 50%, the 61.8, and then in larger corrections also here the 78.6 and the 88.7. The 1.113 actually not really, and the 23.6 is not too relevant either, but in a way 4 maybe, but mainly it starts here at 38.2. And then you can obviously carry on, you know, you can do that again and again. And what I do, I use the wicks. Yeah, some people just use the candle bodies, but I always use the wicks because they are relevant. And then you go again, you go to the high. Here you can see the price retraced back to the 23.6%. So that is how you do it. And you can do it on all time frames really, you know. For example, if we go to the 4-hour chart, of course you have more detail. Make it a bit larger. And then if we just want to look at this here, again, take the low, go to the high, and here you can see the price perfectly retraced to the 88.7% Fibonacci level. So this is Fibonacci retracements. You can see it adheres to it. It's a bit subjective sometimes. If you combine it with the Elliott wave method, then you know which, or you with a higher probability know in which, when you know in which wave you are, you can much better estimate where the price will retrace to. But that needs a lot of practice. Then we've got the trend-based Fibonacci extension tool. That is the tool where you would start at the low. This is what gives you price targets. You go to the high as well, and then you have another leg, and you pull that down to the most recent low, and then you get potential price targets here. And you can perfectly see how the price reacted to these. So extensions that I use very often are the 100% you need to use. That's the first price target, the 1.272 and the 1.618. 1.786, not that often. 200% is relevant. And then also 2.618, 300%, 3.618. These are all relevant. But the first two main ones, or the first three main ones, they are really relevant. And that is the 100% extension, the 1.272 and the 1.618. And you can see here the price perfectly retraced to the 1.272. So when it goes just through the 100%, and we had some reaction to it as well, but when it just goes through it, the next price target is the 1.272. So you can see how that works out. By the way, we're still here on the 4-hour chart. To zoom out a bit, I need to go to maybe the 12-hour. But that is how you can use the extension tool. And you know, we can also, let's just see if we can find something else that again here as well, where we had a bit of a pump here all the way to the top, go down to the low. Here it didn't do anything really. It didn't even get to it. It was probably already running out. But maybe when we started here at the swing low, and again, they don't always work, you know, you need to find that what really works. And here the price, it barely reached the 100%, didn't even get to the 100%. So sometimes they do work, sometimes they just don't. But they are a good guide, and they work again with probabilities. But I like to combine it with the Elliott wave method. what else do we have? There are some tools that I don't tend to use. I'm certainly interested in looking further into these in the future. The most frequently used is, of course, the Fibonacci retracement, the Fibonacci extension as well for price targets, especially when you look at price targets, let's say for the next wave up. Let's say if we combine it again with the elite waves, and we're currently in a wave 2, next wave 3 should be a 1.618 extension, and so on. There's a lot to learn about that. Now there's a lot of stuff here under, if you go here to this section on TradingView, all about Fibonacci's. You can get some sort of fancy stuff I've never used. What I have used in the past is, for example, here this Fibonacci spiral, where again you do it the same way. You start at the low, you go to the high, and then you get sort of these, but this is not, I don't have the setting correctly because I don't really use them very often. So I was probably used too much of a distance, so I probably have to zoom in a little bit and use it on a smaller scale. So we can try it here. So if I go from the low here to the high, I probably don't have the settings correctly because I don't normally use it. Let's see what we have on here. Oh, there's not much to do. There isn't much to do, so let's see if we probably have to start somewhere else for that. Let's see what happens when I go from that one, because it spirals out, that one does. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I think for some reason I've got the settings wrong here with that one. But it's a spiral, spirals out, gives you an idea of larger of timings as well, time, but I'm not sure, I've never really used it, but I know that you do it from the low to the high as well. What also, don't know, I'll skip that. Again, have never really used that, probably because it doesn't work. There's one more that is quite interesting, Fibonacci circles. They work a bit better in my opinion. So again, you start from the low, you go to the high. Can adjust that a little bit, and then you can see those circles, and they're not too bad because what you get with the Fibonacci retracements, I mean, they are straight lines, horizontal lines. What you get with these circles here is obviously also a projection by time, and you can actually see that it's not too bad because depending on which time frame you're using, obviously this here was caught quite well, as you can see here. Just to highlight it, that was caught quite well. Here we had a reaction, here we had a reaction, here we had a massive reaction. So you could argue they do work. They might not catch everything, but it is certainly interesting from a time projection point of view. Fibonacci circles also quite straightforward to apply, and we can even try to apply them now here where we currently are on the Bitcoin chart. So again, we could just wait from the low to the high again. Try that. Just did a little. And here again you can see, if I zoom in a little bit, I would say it gave a good indication that something is happening here, something is happening here, something is happening here. Sorry for drawing skills here. But I think it caught quite a few waves and moves. And then of course what you can do with the circles, if it doesn't go out wide enough, you can just go high. You can add more extensions. So I could now go to the, let's say the 5.618 extension, and it would add that as well. And again, here there was a change, So these are sort of the things that you can play around with then. But I'll change it back to the 4.618. Oops, 4.618. Certainly also an interesting tool that might give you a projection around time. And we could even try it now from, see, did we make a lower low here? Not yet. So let's see what happens here when we go from that low here to that high. And again, the smaller the time frame, the smaller the moves as well. But what you can see very, very nicely here, that whenever we moved from that fib level, or here it made a change, didn't it? So here you had a change, here you had huge drop, here you had a huge pump actually. Well, you can call it huge, but it's certainly a reaction here. Well, nothing happened here really. So again, it can be an indication. I wouldn't trade only with this, but it gives you in line with other indicators. It can give you some sort of an idea when something can happen. Yeah, but again, I don't use these circles very much, but maybe something to look into in the future. And again, there are all sorts of different tools here. We've got the trend-based Fibonacci time extensions, some sort of fans and stuff like that, and arcs, and some things I've never used. Yeah, so because you don't need all that stuff really, especially if you're just starting out or so and you just do basic trading. But it's still interesting. It can give you an edge, I think, if you can use them. And again, I find the circles quite interesting. Probably need to look further into that Fibonacci spiral. But overall, yeah, most frequently it's just the trend-based Fib extension and the Fibonacci retracements that are used. And again, it could just be because it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy that because everybody's using it, it works. But that is what nobody knows. My take on it is that generally waves adhere to this. Yeah, I believe in those Elliott waves as well. And I don't think the Elliott waves are a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I think this is something that is actually when people act together, like bulls and the bears acting together, that you have these sentiment shifts and they are just natural. Yeah, that is why you have those cycles as well, which we talked about in previous live streams, where you go from capitulation over into hope and fear and stuff like that. You go through these economic cycles and you do that all over again. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. So I think there are these waves of emotion and of sentiment that are playing a role here. So that's really just an overview here about the background of Fibonacci. If you joined the stream later, you can always go back, watch the beginning of the live stream where I talked about those number sequences and the ratios between them, and how you get actually to the Fibonacci numbers themselves. So I think what I'll do now, I'll go to your questions. If you posted any, I think there were some questions. So let me just go to the beginning of the chat, and if you have any questions, just post them now and I'll go through them all. Normally I can't cover them all, and hopefully the Fibonacci's were interesting. So, and again, thanks all for your support while I scroll through this here. So Jeffrey, was it a question for me? Let's see. With the saying go away in May, could that have been another reason why the altcoins got smashed? Investors taking May to August off, meaning removing their investments off the table. Yeah, I'm not sure. It could of course be something. I don't know how relevant that is. Historically, really, the months from May to August, they are weaker months generally. Yeah. I mean, we've seen that last year, didn't we? Where from May till July, really, or till end of July, really, they were really quiet and the prices dropped. But then in August, it started to pump again, or end of July. But yeah, they are weaker months. I don't know if people really sell stuff, but I guess they do. Otherwise, it's sort of an older saying, but it sort of still has relevance. And there are comparisons where you can see that, yes, in these periods, for example, the S&P 500 was lower, generally had a lower return historically than during the winter months, but still it made profit. So anybody who's taking money out historically has lost out on gains, even though they were lower. But if you take anything off the table in these months historically, you would have just been better off to leave it in. So MN Steady, with Bitcoin's wave 1 in this wave 5 down have taken around a month. Assuming it ended today, would you expect the wave 2 up to take the same amount of time since it's of the same wave degree? Let's go to the Bitcoin charts. Yeah, I don't know if that wave 5 is already complete here. It is really hard to say, especially as we are currently in a pattern and you have a lot of up and down and you get much more complex corrections. Yes, this has taken really nearly a month now. No, it doesn't need to play out another month. I think if we go back here, I mean, it can take a few weeks, certainly. Yeah. Normally the wave 2 would not necessarily be that long, but yeah, I can't say. Yeah, maybe a similar number, maybe a similar amount of time. Because I remember when we came down here, we had a wave 1, 2. That was all the wave 3. Within the wave 3, you had another 1, 2. The 2 can happen quickly, yeah, because all it needs to be, it just needs to be a quick retracement up. My feeling is, I would say it is a bit slower. Faster, shorter, but can't guarantee it. But yeah, if that took now obviously a month here, that can take a few weeks, maybe a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, just to guess really. Janelle, yeah, feel free to check out the course, Janelle. I put a lot of work into it. Happy to be. Yeah, hello, welcome Miran for the first time. Savas, Ethereum still goes to 3,150 before it goes down, or are the conditions different? No, my view would be that it still goes, because I've had on the Ethereum chart the same. Which one do I use? Binance. Expectation would be that we go up here, yes, in the wave 2, that there should be some kind of a move up for Bitcoin as well, and then I would expect Ethereum to move up as well. You can count the Elliott wave count here a little bit different for you can count it a little bit, count it slightly different, assuming that, yeah, this might have been the wave 1 here already, this might have been the wave 2 here already, but I would go with just the same wave count as Bitcoin. So my expectation would be that we will move into this green target area first as well. I would now have to adjust it down a little bit. Actually, I can do that in this video because the wave is now a bit longer. Yeah, so we do that like that now. Yeah, because I start at the 38.2 fib level, go all the way to the 61.8 between 3,050 and 3,250. So yeah, the conditions have changed because that wave is getting longer. Yeah, then you have to adjust the Fibonacci levels as well. Not me in best TA anywhere. Thank you very much. Alison, I'm doing the course and loving it so far. It's exactly what I needed. And thank you very much, Alison. That's good feedback, because I don't, I'm doing the course and I give my best, but I don't know if it really is what you guys need, but I really put everything in there that I think is useful. So Richard asked about Enjin Coin. Yeah, we can do that in the end when we have some time left. Otherwise, I wanted to do an updated video anyway about Enjin Coin. Not a meme. Okay, apparently the website link wasn't updated. That's strange. It might sometimes take a few minutes. I did it quite late today on the website, so it might sometimes take a few minutes to get updated. Sorry if it wasn't done correctly or on time. I'll do that more on time next week, but it was all updated and published. Okay. Okay. It's going through the chat here when I was at the door. Yeah, no, it was not Elon Musk, at least not yet. He didn't come to the door. Mark, question, has there been any correlation using Fibonacci and the actual length of cycles? Not necessarily just fib levels. I'm tried doing some research on this. Well, yeah, I think it is sort of related. You can use, as I said, these Fibonacci circles, and there's a Fibonacci time extension tool. I myself found timing extremely difficult. I also need to do a bit more research into this. I want to do it. Some of the next things I wanna really look into. But time is really, really difficult to forecast. Who's at the door? It's YouTube. Looking for some genuine questions here in the chat at the moment. So Knut asks, Ben, what could have triggered such a massive stimulation sell-off for so many altcoins while Bitcoin and a few others barely move downwards? Triggered stop losses, short sellers. Honestly, really hard to say. I personally, I don't know what triggered it. It is strange that in a situation when Bitcoin moved only sideways, that you have so many altcoins sell off that strongly. I mean, the thing is, what could have triggered it is that Bitcoin moved out of this bearish flag to the downside. That is quite bearish. You don't really see it yet too much in the Bitcoin chart, but obviously we have moved out of this channel. Yeah, it has now been a weekly candle close last week that closed out of the channel, outside of that channel here. We've had, I think with Bitcoin now, 4 or 5 red weekly candles in a row. That might just have triggered the altcoin sell-off, just a fear in the market really. I don't know if there was one major trigger. This stuff going on with Phantom certainly didn't help, but it would have not really had an effect on other cryptos. We can only see that they are now, a lot of them are now oversold. And as I said in many videos, at some point here, I do expect now a recovery for many altcoins as well, because they are so oversold. One more thing to mention is that these moves sort of were expected, and sometimes they just happen. They just work out as expected, without really a trigger. It is just human sentiment shifts, yeah. But what surprised me was that a lot of the altcoins just sold off so quickly while Bitcoin was holding actually fairly well. So I don't really know what the trigger was. I can imagine that it really was because Bitcoin dropped out of the channel, but what really was the catalyst, the final catalyst, I don't know. Kyle, can you tell us your thoughts on the bullish divergence on ADA weekly? Usually bullish bearish divergences are one of the more reliable indicators. Let's go to the ADA chart quickly. I don't really see a major bullish divergence here. So that could count as one here, what you see here. But that low isn't in yet. So assuming that low is in, but yeah, it's only a small bullish divergence unless you see something I don't see. But also we had several times bullish divergences for ADA and they didn't play out. That's my thought. We had bullish divergences in this whole downtrend here, especially from here, from December all the way here down to January. Yeah, okay, we had a bullish divergence on the daily. Then we did have a fake out to the upside. There was a short spike. There were various bullish divergences, but in the end, they didn't really help ADA, at least not yet. And I think that on the weekly, it's only a small, if it is one, it's only a small bullish divergence here. But again, the low doesn't seem to be in. What you want now is that the RSI goes higher, and then while ideally the price making a lower low, it did make a slight lower low today. Actually, it did come below the 75-cent level or this week. So yeah, okay, there is a slight bullish divergence here potentially, but yeah, it's nothing too obvious yet. But as I said, I do expect here at some point also a move up, because ADA is just not on the weekly but on the daily also, I think now oversold here below 30. So you expect actually the RSI at least to go up to 50. So it could push the price again maybe to 91 cents, 96 cents or so. So Cristiano asks if we can have a look at the fear and greed index, some other indicators. So I did in my first Bitcoin video, I looked at some indicators, but maybe look at the fear and greed, because that is currently at 22. It's extreme fear. If you look at the prices, you would expect it to be lower, but the problem is that this fear and greed index is calculated based on Bitcoin. I think if you had one for altcoins, and there might be one somewhere, then I think you would probably be lower. Bitcoin is not, well, it is extreme fear, but it hasn't suffered in the last few days as the altcoins have. So again here, yeah, extreme fear, not a bullish sentiment, certainly not. In the last few weeks, really, we have moved between, where I think at some point we were in the neutral phase, but we really moved between extreme fear and neutral. We didn't get back into the greed phase. As soon as you see that shift, that will be an interesting moment, because usually when you see it shift, that indicates a trend change. Same way as when you are in greed, that's all fine. You don't need to sell in greed or extreme greed. When you should sell, I mean, that's not financial advice, you know that, but historically is when the sentiment shifts, when you go from greed to neutral to fear. That is a point that indicates that prices are going to drop. So it often is a good indicator, but should always be used with other indicators as well. So here as well, when fear is going to change into greed, neutral, not a problem, we were there, but when it goes here above 54, 55, and we didn't really break above it. We had one time here 56, but that's it. I think that was borderline up here. But when you see that shift, that is a good time or good indicator that things are changing again. So also here you had it, that was back in July. We had fear, extreme fear, then it moved to neutral and greed. And had you bought here when it moved above, let's say 60, you could have still made some good profit, yeah. So that is how I use it, not just looking at the shift. So Renan Invest, what top 20 altcoins do you believe might outperform during the next bull run? And that is so hard to say. And what I try to always emphasize, it's not to just try to go into the coins that might outperform others, because I think it's so important to spread the risk out and not to max in on one or two coins, because the thing is, especially in the current market, it's a very difficult market, yeah. But if we go through here, just sort of top 20, just look through here quickly. What I think, obviously, Bitcoin and Ethereum are sort of the safest bets anyway. But I think Solana is going to surprise us again. I think that will do well. Terra Luna as well, absolutely. Not sure about Dogecoin. Avalanche will do really well. I think Polkadot will also pick up again. It's a bit slow at the moment, but all of these will do really well, in my opinion. Matic needs to come down lower, in my opinion, before I get much more trust in it. I think the Near protocol will do really well. Chainlink, to be honest, it should do okay from a chart point of view. But I think it's just not. It's sort of losing a little bit of the attractiveness. I don't hear much about Chainlink, to be honest, but it's a solid project. But yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure about that. I hold it and everything. Cosmos, I'm not sure. Probably will do well as well. It moves sort of with Phantom and Harmony One. That's why it's suffering at the moment as well. VeChain should do well, but it also needs to hold the 3.3 cent level. I think Sandbox will do well. And probably Kronos as well. I mean, it's so hard to say. I think the thing is, all prices are so low at the moment. I think with a well-diversified crypto portfolio of some really good coins, you're good. Yeah, that's my view. And it's so hard to say which one will outperform the others. It's nearly impossible to say. And there might be the odd one that isn't even on here at the moment, that I don't have on the radar, that might just outperform them all. But yeah, for me at the moment, it's really stick with the good projects. That's my view at the moment. Leah, any opinion on KNC? It's quite new on exchanges and seems to be in the uptrend. I don't know KNCs. I can't really comment on that. Yeah, Sam, I really need to look at the Fib spiral in a little bit more detail. I have never really used them. I more used the circles in the past. Clifford asks about how will you spot capitulation. So what I understand as capitulation is really, I can show you what happened in the past. Just move them down here. Capitulation, something like that, yeah. Where you have in a very short period a huge red candle, like a real swing low. That is what Bitcoin does, you know, a real swing low, where you had here a last attempt to move higher in a wave B, and then you just dropped like 62%, yeah. And look at what that happened. Or I need to go to the weekly chart here. That one here. I mean, that happened in 3 weeks. In 1 week, you dropped basically 50%. That is a sign of capitulation. Here as well, that was back in 2018. You also moved sideways for a long time. Yeah, I mean, we moved here, you know, sort of sideways between April 18 and November 18. You see how long this can take. And for weeks, the price didn't move in the end. And that is what I'm, you know, when that happens and the price really doesn't move at all anymore, then you can, that will then break out at some point. And here it was capitulation as well. Really price getting squeezed. And then within a couple of weeks, you also dropped like nearly 50%. What we had back here, by the way, was actually a quite obvious descending triangle, really bearish. And the price got really squeezed into this apex, and then that was it. And was a bit different here in November 19, 2020. That looked a bit different, but that is sort of what happens. You know, that is what Bitcoin is doing. That is what I'm looking out for as well. And here as well, that was obviously in 2014. Where also here it's not that obvious, but you just had one last major low here. Look at that selling volume here. Also in 1 week, how much did we drop here? It wasn't that much, but how much was it in 1 week? Well, also 44%. So when you see something like that, that can be our capitulation. But then also the week after, some recovery. That is what we need to see. Otherwise, it can just carry on. And these were the major lows from which then the price recovered. That is what I'm looking out for, what I'm waiting for with Bitcoin as well. And when I talk about capitulation, it would really be that, you know, if we could draw that here in some way, that you really move on here for a while, maybe a bit higher, blah, blah, and then you just have your dump, maybe not that deep, but it's sort of that capitulation that normally happens. So JK, I see on Discord that you are trying to get into Near. Do you have any updates on that? Yeah, I did buy Near. I might need to update that, but I have obviously published my buy orders for Near on the buy order sheet, and they triggered already. So I bought Near as per the buy order sheet on Discord. Leah asks, after finishing the Bitcoin correction, when will we go in ABC? Do you think it's likely for this B wave to again enter the target area? Don't quite understand the question. Is it talking more short term, Leah? When will we go in ABC? Do you think it is likely for this B wave again to enter the target area? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I understand the question. So here, short term, what I expect is that Bitcoin is going to get into this green target area and then drop, and that is located between roughly 42k and 46k before we come down. After finishing the correction, when we will be in a... I'm not sure if I understand the question. The best way to understand or to be sure, well, you're never sure, but the best way to understand that a correction is over is when you have a capitulation, then you have your first impulse, so your first 5-wave move up, yeah, and then you have an ABC down, and that is a good time to get in when you get that, yeah. That is then a good time to get in because you've had your first impulse, you've had your first correction that might end higher, and then you pretty much enter here and you're waiting for the next, and you ride the next wave. Okay, Kuma Jerome, any thought on Ape? I haven't fundamentally looked into the project, but what I'm gonna do just for fun, I'm gonna buy a position because it's now dropping. I seriously wanted to buy around $12. I missed it, and I was a bit annoyed. Then it now pumped over $20. I think it's now back to 17 or something. I'm just gonna go a little bit in, just because I think it could become something crazy like Shiba or something. But overall project, personally, I don't like NFTs. There's a lot of fake. I know those Bored Ape Yacht Club apes. They are famous and they are one of the few that are probably having real, well, not real value, but people pay money for them, and there's sort of a hype around them. They are sort of the originals, but I don't like NFTs. But I want to have some ape because I think it has just the potential to be something crazy, So I'm gonna buy that shortly. But I will do an updated video. I want to do it for the whole week. I haven't really done it, but I will shortly. Yes, Richard, Sandbox is one of the next videos, absolutely. Liberty, how do we sign up on the course? So all you need to do is to go to More Crypto Online Liberty, Liberty One. So you go to the, move that over here. Just go to the website, yeah, you go to membership and services. You scroll down, that's the course. You get a 15% discount in addition to that as a channel member. That will be refunded after you purchase. So straight away you get 15% off. And I think that is a really good price. I mean, I've seen other trading courses, $300, $400. It is a foundational course, but it covers a lot and it will have 15 chapters. And I publish one chapter per week. Currently it has 2 chapters out there. I finished chapter 2 this weekend. The 3rd chapter will be finished by next weekend, and throughout the week I upload what I finish, and so every week there will be a new chapter and you can learn at your own pace. So there you go, you can just do it on the website. Should for some reason payment not work, for some reason sometimes the payment on the website doesn't work, then just reach out via email, and we have a credit card link as well. So not meme, Dot and Atom seem to have a lot of similarities in terms of use case. If you compare the charts, which one do you think has the best short-term potential? Do you think inflation matters? I think you can't really. They are both good projects, absolutely. What I like is that Dot is holding at the moment a little bit better. I think Dot is a little bit more on the safer side of things. I think it has a bit more institutional investment. I might be wrong, but it is holding very well compared to some other projects. And I think Dot would be the one. If I had to choose between both, I would choose Dot. Not that Atom isn't a good project, absolutely. I don't want to say that, but yeah, I would choose Dot. Andrew, hey Ben, I looked on the buy orders and I didn't see Silica. Yeah, I can't add all cryptos on the buy order sheet because it needs updating regularly, and it's just at some point it will just get out of control. I also started to dollar cost average in, as I said in the video back then, at around 11 cents, I think it was. Yeah, I think I'll buy a bit more very shortly also at the current price level. I think it is something that I would like to add a little bit more to my portfolio, but I always bear in mind that these smaller projects, I keep only smaller positions in my portfolio. But I'll make you all aware when I buy something anyway. Andreas, are you invested more heavily in Bitcoin or altcoins? For me, it's a lot of Bitcoin, yes, Ethereum, and Cardano, and that is historically because Cardano is one of the earliest altcoins that I bought, and when it was really good price, and obviously the price has gone up significantly since then, therefore it is just overweight in my portfolio. But most percentage in my portfolio have the Bitcoin, Ethereum, but also more the solid, the higher market cap cryptos. A lot of the other cryptos that I hold only have like 2 to 3% exposure in my portfolio. Sakana Otze, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce. I'm buying ADA every day, spending 50 USD right now. Feels good. Yeah, I buy as much as I can at the moment. Try to dollar cost average in with my buy orders because I obviously need some ADA for my staking pool that is not finished yet, but that will be out shortly as well. Someone said no sound. Do I have no sound? Is that true? Or was it, I don't know. Can just someone maybe comment if I really have, if you really can't hear me? Just try to find the question again. Rui Ben, could you give your opinion about projects like Phil? Yeah, I did a Filecoin video recently. The price dropped since then, but check it out. But I will update that at some point. Sam, I'm more excited about Tectonic. Okay, I've not heard about it. Miran, and what should be the indicator for the scenario of dropping directly to less than 37k for Bitcoin? Don't really know if I understand the question. I guess what you're asking is how do we know if Bitcoin doesn't do this wave 2? In my opinion, that is, you won't really know until you can draw the Fibonacci extensions. So next target, if we go down further, next target would be the 2.618 Fib extension. So you still have space until 35.2k. And if we go below that, then a wave 2 will get unlikely. It will still come at some point, but I don't know, we can, then we have a very long wave 1, or the wave 2 might already be up here somewhere and hasn't reached the Fibs. Then we have a straight away move down. But that is not possible to see now, because I have to assume just by applying the rules that there will be a wave 2 to the upside. In the current scenario, even with that wave 2 there, we have space to move to that 2.618 Fib extension and maybe even the 300% at 35.2. If we don't find support here, I think then people will panic anyway. But the next support then will already be here around 34.4 here, those previous lows. And if you drop below 34.4, then even that alternative scenario that I had on the chart here is getting super unlikely, because that's still alive. Yeah, that's still alive, where we could move down in a wave A, move up in a wave B, come down in a wave C. I hope that doesn't happen anymore. It would just extend everything for so long. So I hope that doesn't happen anymore. Miran, sorry for the question, but do you expect Bitcoin to drop more than to raise up to 42? Okay, no, my primary expectation is that it moves up first in this green area and then comes down further. That would be the, let's say, the standard roadmap. Timo, yeah, I posted a video about ICP a while ago. Yeah, well, 9 months ago, yes. And I think it did move up. I like the project. I think it's a solid project, ICP. Obviously, again, another risky one, but still a solid project. But it's got a roadmap like, I can't remember, but it's like a 30-year roadmap. So if you really invest in ICP, you need a lot of patience. I had a more up-to-date video, I think it's a few months old, where I actually bought some ICP around $19, I think, but also that has dropped since then. But I'm holding it, but it's a small percentage in my portfolio. Canaro, Ben, you've been in crypto before than me. Have you seen any project die in the bear markets before? Yeah, there are a few that died. I think I might do a video on that, or we might cover it next Sunday. There are a few that died, but the ones that I cover, most of them should be good. Asrul, yeah, I'm gonna I don't know about AVAX. I will need to update. I will do another update video about AVAX very shortly. Need to check it. For now, I think it's holding the $58 level. Richard, yes, I think I do see a recovery for Sandbox, but the Metaverse cryptos were really smashed. But generally the Metaverse cryptos, they were at higher Fibonacci levels, so in theory it's not a problem that they dropped a little bit more. They just catch up what the other cryptos have done already. And I think I covered all questions, to be honest. And we've also spent an hour, so if that's all right, I'd now close the live stream and spend the rest of the evening with my family. So again, yeah, hopefully that was useful. Oh, there's one more question. JK, what is the benefit of having a gold membership if you are primarily trading crypto? If you no, it's no benefit. I mean, it's a couple of dollars more. It's originally there was no difference at all in benefits between silver and gold. It was just a way for supporters to give a little more. But over time, then, because I like stocks and shares as well, I added the benefit that on Discord I have the channel where I post regularly my analysis of stocks and shares, certain interesting entry points. Because in the community there are some people interested in that. It's a bit more work for me, but that is now what I thought, without giving myself too much more work, what I can offer as additional benefit for gold. So that is the only benefit. But yeah, if otherwise there isn't really a difference between gold and silver, at least at the moment. That might change at some point. Yeah, have a great weekend. Thanks everyone. Again, hopefully, yeah, sorry if anybody was late. You can rewatch it. I think it was a really good live stream. Enjoyed it really. Have a great weekend, guys. And yeah, I think what we will see here very shortly today, probably some more volatility towards the end of the week here, end of the weekly candle. We saw that the last few days as well. But yeah, have a great evening or wherever you are, morning or day. And have a great next week. Thank you all for joining. Thank you. Bye.